Yo, 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 what is up, YouTube? BK, Brad Kellner. Today is Monday, May 24th, 2021. Hope everyone had a great weekend. And it was a very, very successful weekend for the Texas Longhorn Athletic Department. About a national championship for the women's tennis team and a Big 12 championship for the baseball team. Unbelievable stuff on Saturday from those two programs. And history was made for Texas over the weekend. We'll talk about all of that, and we'll also talk about the tremendous job that Chris Del Conte has done since taking over as the athletics director for the University of Texas in December of 2017. Got a little bit of a lag to start the video today, guys. Not quite sure what's going on. Wi-Fi looks good on the computer. No idea what the deal is. Hopefully this clears up in a second. But please like this video if you haven't done that yet. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that yet. Tap that little notification bell to the right of subscribe so you always know when I release new content, whether it's recorded videos like this one or live streams, live chats, Q&As, whatever, which I'll plan on doing at least one of those this week. Also, more content, more live content coming to this channel in the not too distant future. So definitely subscribe and tell the Longhorn fans in your life to do the same. I appreciate the support. Broadcasting from the inside of Bob's Steak and Chop House, downtown Austin on Lavaca Street, one of my favorite places to eat in all of Central Texas. Shout out to my man Sal down there at Bob's Steak and Chop House, the absolute best. If you want a dining experience unlike anything else, you got to get the Bob's Steak and Chop House. They're not like paying me to say that. I'm just saying that on my own accord. I love this place. It makes me happy. So I adjusted the green screen to put me in my happy place, like Happy Gilmore. I'm thinking of you, Happy. Thinking of Chubbs, too. Gone too soon, man. R.I.P. All right, so, shout out to Bob's Steak and Chop House. And shout out to the real video sponsor, laststandhats.com. Use code BK10 at checkout to get 10% off your purchase of any Last Stand hat. You can see that discount code scrolling across the bottom of your screen. So if you forget it, you don't have to wait too long. You'll be able to see it again. Last Stand hats, the best damn UT hats in all of the land. So first of all, congrats to Howard Jaffe and the Texas women's tennis team, the third national title in school history, first since 1995. So the Horns won a national title in women's tennis in 93 and in 95. Now they win their third in 2021. Tremendous job by Coach Jaffe and tremendous job by the young women on the Texas women's tennis team. Congrats to Lulu Sun, a freshman, with the championship winning points for Texas on Saturday. This one came down to the final match. It was 3-3. You need 4 points to win in college tennis, and the freshman Lulu Sun getting it done, number 3 singles. She gets the win in a 3-set thriller. Fun to watch on Tennis Channel, and congrats to all of those young ladies. A tremendous, tremendous performance. Texas beating Pepperdine in the final. Once again, the third women's tennis title in school history. Light the tower, well-deserved title run for the ladies. Only one loss the entire season for the Texas women's tennis team. You want to talk about dominance? That's dominance right there. And shout out to the baseball team winning the Big 12 title. What a day on Saturday. Look, the Longhorns, they needed to take care of business against West Virginia, and they needed some help from Kansas State, and both things happened. We were all a little disappointed with the performance from Thursday night, right? Texas losing the series opener to West Virginia. You kind of felt like that was going to eliminate any chance Texas had of winning the Big 12. Going into the weekend, the Longhorns needed to win the final 2 against the Mountaineers. They also needed TCU to lose at least one more to K-State. And that happened on Saturday. K-State putting up a 7 spot in the bottom of the 9th inning to turn an 8-4 deficit into an 11-8 walk-off win. So shout out to the Wildcats. I'm not too fond of K-State normally, but I was very fond of them on Saturday. That all happened within the span of like an hour, where K-State scores 7 in the 9th. They hit the walk-off homer, and then Texas walk-off run rules West Virginia in that third and final game against the Mountaineers. And a pretty electric atmosphere at the Dish on Saturday. What a year for the Texas baseball team. Currently number 2 in the country, according to D1 Baseball. And yes, they clinch another conference championship. They'll be the number 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament, which starts on Wednesday up in Oklahoma City. The Longhorns will get the winner of Kansas and West Virginia. They'll have the play-in game up there at Bricktown tomorrow, I believe, and then Texas gets the winner of that game on Wednesday. But regular season title, just like in basketball, way, way, way more important, and the Longhorns got it done. They needed some help. Shout out K-State. The baseball gods came through for Texas as well, but just a tremendous, tremendous season for Texas. And now the postseason begins for the Longhorns. The road to Omaha will definitely go through Austin, Texas. Texas will host a regional. Texas will host a super regional. Texas will be a top 8 national seed. My guess is they'll be a top 3 national seed. Depends on what they do in Oklahoma City. I mean, if they're 2 in barbecue, if they're an early exit from Oklahoma City, maybe they'll fall to 4 or 5. But they've got a chance to be a top 2 or 3 national seed when the brackets come out next week. So congrats to David Pierce and all of those Texas baseball players, man. What a year. What a fun ride this has been for them. They've been resilient all year long, and it took till the final day of the regular season, but they got it done. They found a way to win another Big 12 title. So what a weekend it was for the Texas Athletic Department. You get a national title, you get a Big 12 title. By the way, shout out to the Texas men's tennis team. They lost in the Final Four of the men's tennis tournament over the weekend. Not a bad season by any stretch for Bruce Burke and company. So overall, yeah, a pretty incredible weekend for Texas. And overall, it's been a pretty incredible year for the Texas Athletic Department, guys. The baseball Big 12 title made it 13 conference championships for Texas in this academic year. That ties not only a Texas record, but a Big 12 conference record, which was previously set by Texas in the 05-06 academic year. Yeah, some pretty damn good things happened that year, including a football national championship. But 13 Big 12 conference titles for Texas this year, once again tying a Big 12 record. You've got a couple of national championships in there as well with women's tennis and also men's swimming and diving. I would love to add a baseball national championship to that as well. Would love to add a softball national championship to that as well. How about the Texas softball team? Didn't even mention them. They're part of all the tremendous accomplishments from the 40 acres over the weekend. Texas softball winning the Austin Regional, and the Longhorns are off to the Super Regional to take on Oklahoma State in Stillwater this weekend, trying to get some revenge from earlier in the regular season. But getting it to the Super Regionals, not too shabby for Mike White and company. Guys, it's been a ridiculously good year, a record-setting year for the Texas Athletic Department, and this all goes on the ledger of Chris Del Conte. He's done a tremendous job since taking over in December of 2017. I mean, he's done more in 3.5 years than the previous 3 athletic directors did in the previous decade. Right, DeLoss Dodds was a phenomenal athletic director, one of the best in the history of college sports, and the Texas Athletic Department was never better than what it was in DeLoss Dodds' prime. But towards the end of his tenure, kind of felt like things were falling off a little bit. Then you had the Steve Patterson era, which, shoot, we don't have enough time in this video to get into all of the disasters from the Steve Patterson era. That thing was a train wreck from day one. And then Mike Perrin, too, forced in a tough situation, was only an interim AD. He definitely stabilized the athletic department. But, I mean, those 3 guys combined in their last decade were not able to pull off anything close to what CDC has been able to pull off in the last 3.5 years. And, guys, he was bold when he took the Texas AD job in December of 2017. Let me get you the exact quote. I want to make sure I don't botch this here. When he took the Texas job, he basically came up with this mission statement. He said, quote, "All of our athletic programs are in the top 10 in the country and need to be competing for national championships. That's how we're going to base it," end quote. So that's basically when he was asked, like, what do you expect from your teams at Texas? That's what he said. We expect to be competing in the top 10. We expect to be competing for championships year in and year out. And for the vast majority of the athletic teams on campus, they're doing that. I don't know if y'all can hear the dog barking. We've got the neighbor's dog barking mercilessly at something. He's usually pretty good, but he's mad about something right now. Hopefully that's not being picked up at Bob's Steak and Chop House through our microphone here. But guys, I mean, that CDC kind of let him hang with that statement. Like, that is a bold proclamation to say you want to compete in the top 10 in every sport. It's a bold thing to say. Actions speak louder than words, and CDC has taken tremendous action, and just about every single action that he's taken has helped Texas achieve that goal. Guys, I'm looking at this list. Somebody on Twitter put this together. Shout out to whoever the originator is. I see it retweeted all the time, so I don't want to give anybody credit because I don't think any person I'm looking at it from on Twitter actually created this thing. But you look at just the rankings for the Texas athletic teams during the 2020-2021 school year. I mean, these are the teams that are ranked in the top 20. We'll get to top 10 in a second, but these are the Texas teams ranked in the top 20 to end the season. Not at any point in the season. We're talking about at the end of the season. Football, women's basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, men's swimming and diving, women's swimming and diving, men's tennis, men's golf, men's outdoor track and field, women's outdoor track and field, women's golf, men's indoor track and field, women's indoor track and field, rowing. That's it. All of those programs ended their year in the top 20. The only major D1 sport for Texas that didn't finish the year in the top 20 is women's soccer. They ended the year unranked. What about top 10? To CDC's quote, wanting to compete in the top 10 each and every year. Baseball, volleyball, men's and women's swimming and diving, men's and women's tennis, men's golf, men's and women's outdoor track and field, women's indoor track and field, and rowing. A lot of top 10 programs at the University of Texas this year, guys. The student athletes deserve a ton of credit. Of course, the coaches deserve a ton of credit. The trainers, everybody involved with those programs deserve a ton of credit. But the man at the top, CDC, deserves a ton of credit for doing whatever he can to make sure that those programs are in the best possible position to be successful. And my goodness, they've been successful this year. 13 conference championships, 2 national championships. You've got a ton of top 10 and top 20 teams right now. It's ridiculous. The hires that CDC has made have been tremendous. You look at Bruce Burke, the men's tennis coach. Kind of a lucky situation. He was the interim guy, right? He took over after the Michael Center FBI situation a couple of years ago, but CDC made Bruce Burke the interim coach and then ultimately decided he was the man for a job. Men's tennis has won a national championship in the Bruce Burke era. You look at Vic Schaefer, what he did in year 1 as the head coach of the women's basketball team, taking the Longhorns all the way to the Elite Eight. Not too shabby. Mike White, softball, not too shabby. Eldrick Florial, track and field. Not too shabby. You got some Big 12 titles from the track and field program this year. All of those hires have been phenomenal for Texas thus far. And then we get to Chris Beard. We haven't seen it from Chris Beard yet, but my goodness, guys, CDC went out and got him a top 10, borderline top 5 coach in the country. It won't be CDC's fault if Chris Beard doesn't work out at Texas. Chris Beard was absolutely the right man for the job. He was the best coach that Texas could have gotten, and CDC was able to lure him in from an in-state rival, from a conference rival. And oh, by the way, he convinced Chris Beard to take a little bit less money to take the job at the University of Texas. Not bad. And then Steve Sarkisian, we know football is the most important hire. We know football pays the bills for just about all of the other athletic programs at Texas. Sark, time will tell if it works out. And regardless of what CDC has done in the past, he's done a lot in the past. A lot of people will base their decision on how good of a job CDC has done at Texas based on the Sarkisian hire, based on the football program. That's just kind of how it goes around these parts. But Sark, I think, was a great hire. CDC gave him an open checkbook to go get the best assistant coaches that Sark could get, and he hired a tremendous staff, going to get Pete Kwiatkowski, bringing over half of Alabama's staff with him. CDC, to this point, all of his hires have been great. I'm excited about the Beard hire. I'm excited about the Sark hire too. Then you talk about the facilities upgrades. I know we've talked about this on the channel. I did a video with Fanatic Perspective. Make sure y'all go subscribe to him if you haven't already. Just talking about all of the facilities upgrades at Texas. The South End Zone project at DKR. The new Moody Center in basketball. Nearly $400 million, guys. No other athletic department in the country can do that for a basketball stadium. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. The new basketball and rowing practice facility, the baseball training facility, the new tennis center that's been there for a couple of years. All that happened under CDC's watch. I mean, this guy is a ridiculous fundraiser. Facilities upgrades. You need that to recruit. You need that to help your programs have a chance to be the most elite in the country. And CDC has found a way to do that. Despite some struggles on the field in the most important sport, football, biggest revenue generating sport, CDC has still found a way to raise a ton of money to pretty much improve every single athletic program here at Texas. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of facilities upgrades too. I mean, just about everything has been impacted under CDC. And if it hasn't been touched yet, it's going to be touched. There are plans in place if it hasn't happened already. So the facilities upgrades, the fundraising, the coaching hires. I mean, just about everything he's done has been tremendous. Just about everything he's done has been tremendous. Time will tell ultimately if CDC is the right man for the job and if he can have like a DeLoss Dodds type of run here at Texas. But to this point, guys, he's passed just about every single test there is to pass. He was bold. He went bold, saying he wanted to compete in the top 10 in every sport, but he put his money where his mouth is. I mean, Texas is the most valuable athletic department in the country. We haven't always flexed our financial muscles. We haven't always done the things that we need to do and used our resources to the best of our advantage. CDC is absolutely doing that, and we are reaping the benefits of all of it. So shout out to CDC, man. Chris Del Conte, a phenomenal job since taking over. He deserves a lot of credit for this record-setting year for the Texas Athletic Department. Of course, the student athletes deserve a ton of love too. Congrats to the women's tennis team and congrats to the baseball team on winning their respective titles over the weekend. Hopefully the baseball team can make a deep run to Omaha. That would be incredible. Hell, they've got a chance to set a record. If the baseball team wins the Big 12 tournament, I think that counts as a 14th conference title this year, which would be a Texas and Big 12 record. So we might not even be done in terms of conference championships this year. Just tremendous, tremendous year for the Texas Athletic Department. Once again, hopefully football can figure it out. Hopefully Sark's the right man for the job because a lot of people judge the success of an athletic department on the football program. So hopefully football can get its stuff together. We'll obviously talk about that plenty on this channel, but you know, football struggles don't take away from the success of the other teams on campus this year. So there you go. Great weekend for Texas. Great year for Texas. That's going to do it for today's video. I got to get to the show. Listen to the show, The Triple Option with RBKD. Weekdays from 3 to 7 on the Horn and online at hornfm.com. We're lagging or glitching a little bit, but the video is almost over. So hopefully it wasn't too bad during the meat of this thing. This video is brought to you by Last Stand Hats. Check them out, laststandhats.com. Use code BK10 at checkout for 10% off your purchase. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet, and tap that little notification bell so you're always informed whenever I drop new content. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Always appreciate the love. Also, comment below with future topics of conversation, anything else you want me to hit on this channel. I would love to hear from y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Until next time, y'all stay safe, y'all stay healthy, and hook 'em.